Hello everyone, welcome to the second round of match 4 of Chosen of the Gods 6K 2v2. So far, we've seen Team Goonatar win the first round. Very dominating performance against ANS there. Monitor balls, bulk freighters, a container liner, rail cell, all sorts of different things, MMTs. It was a great showing. I'm joined by Darg here.
Hello.
And yeah, as you know, it's 6K 2v2 tournament as is usual. We're playing on Yukon this time. Yukon is an excellent map in my opinion, one of the best modded maps in the game. Lots of different variety that you can get away with, but also it is a single neutral, but it's one of the good single neutral maps, I think. Right now we have Team Goonatar on ANS and the Rats back on OSP. As you can see, the Rats love calling all of their ships Rat. So it'll be quite difficult to discern what they all are until we actually get into the battle here. Dark, whenever we do get into the match, would you take the liberty of telling us the fleets?
Oh, of course. Now, it's looking like here on the deployment screen that both teams are signing up to go and fight over the top of the map, which doesn't happen a lot often. Usually on Yukon, both teams go and fight around in the Echo Charlie Warren, so I look forward to seeing kind of a larger fight around Charlie and looking for kind of zone control on top of the map. It's top of the map, a lot of people don't use it, but it's actually a really strong place for controlling 4 entire points on the whole map. You can see Bravo, Delta, Alpha, and Charlie from the top section of the map.
Mm-hmm.
There's also, ANS is also putting some ships down in the lower middle part of the map, so they might be going for some sort of like capital push in the lower section and then some scouting assets up top. I don't know. We're gonna see what happens when we get down to it. At the very least, Team Rats has more vessels than they had last time, so they might have map presence and they could have a chance to win this game. 3 battleships, 3 gun battleships is not a real build.
One thing I did notice there is I think Empress is on the field. I did see it in the bottom right there for the Team Goonatar spawn, so I'm assuming that they are bringing a beam battleship then.
No surprise there. We're dropping down here with the OSP team, where we do have 1 gun Ocello. Got a Tito here. 450s, Auroras. Looks like Interruption, a Lyrebird. No Blackjack. But that's some really strong soft kill and hard kill capabilities. It's also got a 450 bulk freighter. A obelisk bulk freighter. 2 obelisk bulk freighters. That's plasma and 100 turrets. EWR tug, EWR and LRT tug, both of these are interesting. It's going to be some power micro you're going to have to engage in there, which can be rough. And 3 rocket shuttles. Looks like, even though this team does have more ships, they still have almost no scouting assets. Snow has a gun Ocello as well. Eruption, Lyrebird, Auroras, Bullseye, Floodlight. In fact, this looks like pretty much the same build. 1 obelisk bulk freighter. 1, 2, 3. These little rocket scout shuttles. 1, 2. Yeah, this is the same build. This is the same fleet twice. Bloodhound and LRT, or Bloodhound and EWR tug. Another obelisk. And a 450. Okay. Team 1, ANS, Team Goonatar has a bomber swarm. That's what these are. These are sprinters that launch S2s, sometimes S2Hs. These are probably going to be S2Hs, yeah, outside of opponent's radar range. Deal a ton of damage. There's also got a pair of Axfords on the lower part of the map with strong soft kill capabilities. A lot of guns. Mark with some 450s and 120s. Ready to get in there and deal some heavy damage. Really light on the point defense. Gonna be relying on that soft kill pretty heavily. And Puppy actually has the beam battleship, and that is impressive. That is Hunter's beam BB design, which is very interesting to see that they've been sharing those ships. Let's make sure we went through all these sprinters. I feel like there's one sprinter that's somewhere. Yeah, there it is. There it is. We got one Bullseye Pinard Lock sprinter to spot for those bombers to do their job. Puppy's got the beam battleship, soft kill, hard kill, ready to get in there and kill things. As I said on the deployment screen, it looks like ANS is going for pushing these capitals up this little crevasse here to control the middle part of the map and control pretty much every rotational access you can take around the edges of Yukon. Puppy's also got some beam destroyers spread around the map and one single railgun. Why? Okay, two railguns. That's less bad, but I don't know. I feel like this isn't enough railguns to actually get anything done.
Three energy regulators too small, so it has right amount of rate of fire.
Yeah, maybe.
Personally, I'd have a minimum of 3 if I was to bring rails, though.
Yeah, exactly. It's also got a few Pinard gun sprinters scattered around all over the map, and a couple going for capture points. ANS has grabbed their Bravo, they've grabbed their Charlie, and they're launching some S2H command missiles out already onto one of the rocket shuttles. Now, SP doesn't have very many of those. They really can't be afford to be losing them this early. But there they go. There's one.
One thing I just started noticing on all of these shuttles and all of these tugboats that OSP is fielding, they do not have damage control.
No way. Oh
not a single one has damage control.
Okay, so this has the reinforced Combat Information Center and a reinforced magazine, so this could have been alive if it had a rapid DC in it. But yeah, the no damage control is going to make those bombers be able to kill all of these ships with little to no investment. That was one volley of S2s. This is going to be a very short match.
You never know, the rat counterattack might happen.
With no damage control on the light ships. Like that's another, you just can't do that and have any sort of degree of effectiveness.
The rats are, though, making a pretty concerted effort to push onto the sea point here. They've got a lot of ships ready to throw themselves onto it, at least. Goonatar does have beam DDs ready for this push, however. Should be able to just mow down at least the first ship that rounds the corner.
Yeah, OSP going for that hard Charlie push with pretty much all their capital elements. Gonna mean that the main battle force of OSP and ANS do not meet and probably won't meet for quite some time. So they're on opposite sides of the map. Oh, the OSP forces are really strung out. So one of the SLs and one of the bulk freighters are gonna come into view of this beam destroyer.
Ooh, some of these command missiles falling for a decoy line ship, so they're being flung at that.
It's always fun to see. Hunter's not gonna be too happy about that. Oh, these are S2s.
Oh, yeah,
wait a minute.
Cheaper. I'd like to imagine Hunter and VC like, are you serious? No.
Yeah, he's got S2s and S2Hs on these. It's cute. Use the lower investment stuff for
some 100 mil flying into this 100 mil armor piercing. Is that being fired at this shuttle?
Sure is. A lot of overpins from the 100mm. You're going to be doing very little damage to the sprinter.
I believe I saw that engine flash 20 times and it only took like 90%, still 90% health.
And if they had HE loaded, this would have taken a ton of damage. But unfortunately, the APs, yes, all that's going to go right through, and a little bit of damage on the Pinard and the gun. But that sprinter is going to be able to hop onto the alpha point pretty much unchallenged.
Oh,
beam out on Charlie. Catching the Acela in the broadside, cutting out one of the lockers. He's getting a reload. Okay, good. He goes for the battle short. And since he's got this and the broadside, there's not going to be any tanking with the nose.
However, the beam is kind of hitting nowhere. It managed to knock out a radar panel. Oh no.
Could deal a ton of damage.
Yeah, knocking out more important stuff on the bulk freighter, looks like.
Well, it is tearing this bulk freighter to shreds.
Knocked out 2 C-65s, which is nice. But the DD is now in the open against 9k worth of ships, so it's yeah, it's lost its beam already. It's dead.
Bombers flanking around the backside of the OSP line. They're gonna kill everything in back here. These disperse all these radar ships at the back of OSP's spawn do not have any way to protect themselves from the S2s and the S2Hs, and since they don't have any damage control, all it's going to take is one volley per ship. In fact, not even a full volley per ship to kill it. You just have to disable the CIC, and that's it.
So,
Beam Destroyer getting torn apart.
Someone in chat did point out both the team's balls, if you want to call it, the death balls, have sort of avoided each other, but it looks like Team Goonatar is going to be much better in that exchange because they're killing the OSP backline stuff while they're doing this.
Yeah.
Deer usually, one of the other keystones, is rising up, going to start trying to beam away at some stuff on sea. Hopefully it doesn't meet the same fate as Range, which died down there.
Another S2H strike out on one of the sensor ships, which might just die to 450 in rails before the hybrids even get there, because it doesn't have damage control. Bonk. There it goes. Another very important detection tool gone. Hunter's gonna put his spotting ship onto the Delta point, capture that before too long. Let's be back. They'll continue their 3-2 lead, even though they will lose Charlie for a short time. Meanwhile, the Axford's going for broke around the bottom side of the map. There's nothing down here. ANS figured out that OSP's put all their money up on Charlie, so they're able to capture Delta, to capture and control Alpha, and they're probably going to grab Echo too. OSP's only going to have Charlie. They're going to be sitting up there in this nice tactical clump. Be good like far away shot and an establishing shot in a Star Wars episode, perhaps. Look at all the space shots, spaceships floating around.
Oh my god, it's time to put this in Neb Gallery. Oh my god.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 vessels gone from the OSP team. Mostly to bombers, which have spent like 60% of their total load. Which is not bad at all. And bunch of chaff, not gonna do anything versus the pure command missiles. Bonk. That's dead. OSP now basically blind. They've lost all their EWR LRTs, though, except for this one down below Echo.
Oh, we got a rocket shuttle exchange just above the E point. Already some damage to the CIC that it can't repair. Has it run out of all of its rockets already? No, it only fired 7 of them.
Beam destroyers have rightly moved away from the Charlie point. The capital vessels also not really engaging what's up there. They're firing and shelling and moving around, but not committing to anything right now. Sprinter, looks like this little gun Penard sprinter is going to go for the Echo. It's under fire currently by 450, but that's not going to do very much at this range. Are backing away from the blob now. A foolish move, but a very desirable move, or something that would perhaps speak to someone, is to send your bombers in there and start trying to kill all the big fat ships camped out on Charlie. And that's a good way to waste all your missiles and not get anything done.
Mm-hmm. 2 disco balls, about 8 auroras, and then all the blinder PD on top of that.
And they're very much anti-sensor type vessels. And then also punishing vessels that are off on their own, which is usually what sensor vessels are doing. They're off by themselves.
One big thing to note is Empress has managed to sneak up and might be able to get these 2 plasma liners here if she just swings down underneath here. And then Puppy will be a very happy camper, I guess you could say.
Another shuttle getting beamed.
Oh! Are they firing high explosives this time? Yes, they are! Yay! But it's mostly missing because it's track quality -7.
Fortunately, this is, yeah, pretty poor track. Whoosh.
Axford's starting to get shot by some of these 450 broadside liners. And by the Ocellos. These 2 plasma obelisks are continuing to move towards the E point, and the Beam BB is in a perfect position whenever they get too close to just lay it into them. I think we're going to see a pretty
they're
pretty
already
change.
In range. They're just about 4 kilometers away from this beam battleship. And I think it's getting closer, too.
Yeah, I think they're going to start engaging at 3K. So BBB should win this if it's not being rolled properly yet, but it should have its guns and on target. The BB is ordered to fire on a track right now, and it is rolling. There we go.
Battleship's not on radar yet. They have no idea that it's down here.
It was on radar previously, so they do have an idea that there's something here.
I see.
ANS now taking the point of that shuttle. That sprinter, but it is a bit damaged.
It's probably gonna die before it gets captured.
1 rocket left on the Rat rocket shuttle here, so either they have to decide to hold fire. If they miss, then they can't contest the point anymore.
Plasma's unmasking in front of the beam battleship. Beam battleship has popped up on radar. It has all of its weapons are ready to go, but they're on hold. Okay, there he goes. There he goes. Right into the center stack. No battle short.
Kill the damage control complex. That's a good kill.
There's the battle short. Structure broken.
Yep.
Switching targets. Heavily disabled the first one. Going after the next one. Oh man, bulk freighters, especially obelisks with no drive, are going to be in big trouble. Although these have managed to turn to get the plasma and the 100 mils target. Unfortunately, the 100 mils firing before the plasma, so that first of all, 100 mils, of course, going to do absolutely nothing. A little bit of plasma coming in, but
that's the reactor out.
The reactor out, it's not going to be able to fire those plasma guns anymore. Yeah, it doesn't have enough power. DCX is out.
The magazine out as well.
Most of the important stuff on this vessel are out. Beam battleship can just hang out here, reload slowly, and cut these vessels to pieces. 450 coming up with support from those Axfords. Going to be able to do and execute on these bulk freighters before the Ocellos and the other bulk freighters can really get down here and support these ships. Although the beam battleship is in a pretty vulnerable position once all these other vessels get down here. But they are eating more beams from a destroyer while they're traversing. They're capturing the alpha point. I think this is too close to the edge, though. Yeah, he's not keeping it in the sphere for capture. So this is going to fly out before that obelisk will fly out of the alpha point. It is taking fire from the dear usual, which unfortunately is taking fire back and will be dying very quickly now. Plasma Vessel's continuing to get blasted by 450. I think the beam battleship might be rotating now. No, looks like he's sticking it on the plasma ships.
The railguns have been forgotten about. They could be used right now to really help with this fight, but they're kind of just sitting here asleep at the bottom of the map.
Yeah, I don't think they have... No, they do have a good angle on the Acello and the bulk freighter up here, but that is quite a bit of micro.
The enemy secured zone Atlas.
Too surprising. Beam ships themselves take a lot of micro, and probably has a lot of assets on the map right now, most of which are getting shot at.
Mm-hmm. The Acello shooting into the BB right now, and the 450 liner about to bring its guns to bear as well. The Plasma Obelisk is also rotating and will start shooting at Empress.
One Obelisk down. In the meantime, OSP has managed to... Okay, so he did stick the Alpha Cap. OSP has managed to get a lead, 3-2. They're still down by almost 100 points, and they were bleeding assets quite quickly. Some S2Hs going down to this bulk freighter. I think some of these are going to be HEKP. Yes, a couple were, but that bulk freighter was just in range of those Auroras, and most of those missiles get hard killed very expensive. The rails have opened up onto the Acello. Just going to make this thing suffer immensely in quick fashion. Yeah, the fire is already spreading throughout the entire vessel. Battleship eating a lot of 450 HE, which doesn't really do any damage.
Yeah, that's a lot of bounces.
Gonna deflect most of it.
Very interesting maneuvering here from the beam battleship. I wonder if Puppy intentionally hit the bow off the ceiling of the rock there to be able to get bow onto these enemies.
Distinct possibility. The beams are rotating to shoot the Acello and other reinforcing vessels, and with that Acello being heavily bruised now, thanks to the rail ships, beam support into that would be very, very damaging.
Oh, unfortunately, another beam destroyer here. OSP, the Rat's figuring out that, yeah, we can kill this destroyer right now. So they're switching all their fire from the Acellos onto this beam destroyer in the back line near E.
It's bearing the target, but oh yeah, look at that. 450 HE will damage this. It can't damage the battleship, but it will absolutely ruin a destroyer. Does get a beam out.
Unfortunately, not really doing anything yet. Oh, there, it's in the drive.
The enemy is securing zone Congo.
Wow, that beam did very little.
Yeah, reinforced drives on these Acellos, so they can take a lot more of a beating.
Empress continuing to take fire. The fire will add up. Yeah, 2 beam turrets down. A lot of that HP sacrificed in the first attack on the plasma bulkers. ANS, the bombers are capturing Charlie.
The beams are out on Empress right now. They're currently not being restored either.
Team Goonatar is going to be able to maintain their lead down to 50 points rather than 100, but they are still ahead, and they're about to continue to increase that gap here momentarily. The Posse movie and the Suave Par continuing to be pretty much unchecked and dumping 450 into the bulk freighters. Our beam. It's a very, very beamy day.
The Acello is starting to deal with some of the damage it's taken, but the bulk freighters are the main focus now at this stage, and they are getting savaged.
Both freighters and the Acela turning to deal with the Axfords in the OSP spawn, which is not a sentence you get to say very often. But unfortunately, the 450 and the beams and the railfire that has happened in advance have softened these up to the point that they are dying and dying fast.
That's the drive out on the Acela.
Oh yeah.
The bombers are now starting to rise from sea. They're probably going to get... Realistically, at this stage, with the amount of damage to the reactors, to the PD of all these ships, you could get away now at this stage of just saying, okay, I'm just going to fire all my S2Hs into this blob.
The bulk raiders goes down. They gotta hold on to this alpha point, but I don't see how they do. Not with the beams and not with the 450.
We got 4 critical effects right now on the reactor, and it does have an overload ongoing. Will they remember to turn that off for the Acela? Well, I guess we'll find out in a minute and 40 seconds. Oh, they might kill it before they can. That would be very interesting if the beam battleship went to Cap A and got its armor shredded.
Oh yeah, that would be a big deal. I think that's what's gonna happen. The Empress burning real hard towards that alpha point. Rat.
Fortunately, OSP can't really do much about that at the same time.
Once it gets its armor popped off.
No!
Yeah, OSP recognized the game is over.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty, well that was the second round of the match, and also the end of this match itself. Well, the second round of the match, blah 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 blah. Anyway, Team Goonatar successfully have won round 1 and round 2, and will be moving on to the next bracket. Congratulations to them. Let's take a look at the post game here.
And there's not a whole lot to say about it. It's another game where neither team had a whole lot of ships, and there wasn't really too much going on the map. We managed to catch just about everything. There was the bombers snipped all the sensor assets off, and then when they also made it to where so because of that, the ANS capitals were able to get a very favorable engagement on the OSP capitals because they had the vision, and that made it to where they won the big engage as well. And that is the way that it went.
Alrighty, I guess we'll have both of the teams head up and just have a little chat between them, see what they both thought of that match. So some of them don't have perms to talk in observation lounge, I believe. So should we head up to violence waiting room?
We sure shall. Alrighty, looks like we have the players here.
Yes, we do.
Thoughts?
Yes. It was a good game. I was a little sketched out at first by the number of LNs that there were.
Agreed. There was a lot of LNs to chew through.
Yeah, we kind of were more expecting monitors, but we managed to hold it together. So
Good news is beams work equally as well against LNs as they do against monitors.
yes, sometimes.
Alrighty, Team The Rats. What did you think of that match? Well, the 2 matches, sorry.
So the first match, we were actually feeling pretty confident with the strategy. It was just very unfortunate that our destroyers got taken out by those rocket containers. That essentially ruined the whole plan and kind of threw a wrench in everything. Second game, we did not expect you to go with the heavy cruisers down low. That was kind of bonkers, honestly. We're used to people playing up by like C and holding that, so we were just planning on going there and crushing half of your fleet. and then going down to take out the beams that were probably hiding down in the middle part of the map, because that's what people normally do. But you did weird stuff, and I don't like that. But well played, honestly, well played. Those HEKPs were also really nasty. I don't know how we could have PD'd against those without sacrificing being able to play into like your own death stack if you did do one.
Auroras kill S2H extremely
Interrupt. GG.
No, but like we had those auroras already.
Yeah, it's on the LNs that are the problem. Really, you just need AMMs, and like I've modified that bomber fleet to take SSJ S2s as well now. So if you have regular act AMMs, kind of forces you to take command AMMs to protect yourself from it.
That was what we were thinking, was just like there was so much counterplay to counterplay that we just kind of didn't bother. That's pretty
Yeah.
much what happened.
It's hard to know. Like, yeah.
Yeah, it was a loss in the fleet editor, I think, and I feel like against like other teams, it probably would have gone quite a bit differently. But you guys do weird stuff, and we didn't know how to plan for that.
Well,
Yeah.
ultimately, that's the way to play. It kind of when you have a team, that's the way you can get the best results. Because if you do what's predictable, that's easy to do in pubs because it's easy to kind of get a bunch of people who don't know each other to go and do the obvious thing. But if you have a team and you have the voice comms, you can do the weird stuff that people may not be immediately prepared to deal with. And that's a really, really strong way to play the game. I highly recommend getting used to weird things and playing with people.
No, we half expected that. It was more just there's such a massive risk of death stacking when you've got two teams doing 6Ks.
Mhm.
You can't sacrifice the ability to play into that.
So I think like with respect to that, like yeah, you like with our first game, we put basically a full 6. I think our monitor blob was 5K. And like playing like that with all those points, like yeah, you can do that, and there's ways to counter against it. Like your battleships were able to zone that whole monitor fleet out. But like the thing is that you need to be able to have something that is able to, like with the monitors, you can split them up later. I mean, you know, it's not always the right decision to ball everything up because you're concentrating all your forces and you leave caps open and stuff. Like that much is obvious, but I guess the hard part of the game is knowing when to intuit doing one or the other. Like, do I want to be split up right now or do I want to be in a ball? And, you know, at the start of the game, that's really hard to tell. Personally, I think balling everything and then doing a natural push is stronger than starting off with your fleet dispersed and then splitting up after you take the first natural. Like, that game, we had 6K worth of stuff, or 5.5, 6K. Oh, the rail DDs were down there too. So yeah, pretty much 6K on the bottom of the map, and that was our ball. We just didn't do the standard C, protecting C or the D push with the capitals. We protected mid with the capitals.
Yeah. I was thinking of doing my normal yub nubbing, since that's just what I always do in pubs. But again, I just felt like PD nets would just be really, really tight. And I didn't really see how I could play into that. Like I did quite a bit of testing into those, and just like a 6K blob PD net basically stops everything you can throw at it.
Yeah, it's very hard to beat it. I mean, with 6K of yub, you can probably get through. But then soft kill is also like, you know, you don't want to be putting all your eggs in one basket. Like
Exactly.
That, right?
It was just unfortunate and well played to you guys. That's all I've got to say really at this point.
Yeah, GG.
Alrighty.
So
I have 2 notes. Oh, Dark, do you have something?
no,
else?
go ahead. Go ahead.
I was gonna say, there's an interesting, I think, phenomenon in that first game on Gold Rush, where you guys controlled the center at the end of the game, but it ended up being sort of a death trap. Not a whole lot to take away from that, other than sometimes controlling the center is not great.
late
Oh,
game.
understandably.
Yeah. The cross.
It was very unfortunate that we weren't able to kill more of the monitors. But again, that was just like my destroyers getting taken out at very bad spots.
Yeah,
Like
I left too as soon as I saw like 3 battleships there. I was like, all right, I'm out of here. You can't. It's
yeah.
gonna kill me. And then that second game, that under that low A setup is something I've seen and tried to do a couple times, and it's actually you can mess it up pretty hard if you don't have the requisite vision to either see things coming for C or grab the other side of that wall, the D point, I think it is.
Yeah, if you don't
So-
have the sensor assets, you'll be zoned out of the entire map. So that is actually something that bears bringing up. So both the first game and the second game, the rats severely lacked sensor assets, and in the first game at least, you didn't have any front line. You didn't have any screens for those battleships. You had the like cap controlled destroyers, and then the long range battleships, but you didn't have anything to capture points with. You had a bunch
The
of
general
sprinters.
strat was just to push them off the side and try and take A. We just weren't expecting you to send that many points to A.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I was going to try and push you off and then push into it myself. But seeing 6K there just throw a wrench in the whole plan. That's not normal. That's the best way to put it.
That's how the good
So
plays
props.
throw you off what you're used to.
Yeah. I guess that would be the best way to put it. Yeah.
And in the second game, I noticed all of your tugs and all of your shuttles didn't have a single DC team on any of them.
We generally don't like bother. If they're gonna die, they're gonna die. Is how we view.
Single rapid.
I
gives
would
you
highly
so much
recommend
extra survivability.
bringing
Like it's always worth it.
a rapid
Unless you have like the most horrible.
because
I mean, each time they got hit, they just died.
Because
So
they didn't have it.
reinforced combat information centers, when they get down to red, can be
You just lose
restored. It can be restored. So if you don't have those rapids, all of your assets died almost immediately to missiles because you didn't have those rapids. If you had the rapids, they would have either survived or ANS would have been forced to invest more missiles into those strikes. Rapids are extremely important on the light ships. They dramatically increase the survivability.
Agreed, but those were really not important. We were doing a full gambit of just crushing a fleet up by sea.
Well,
Let's say on the second game, and the same on the first game on Honeycomb was if you push that side, we were gonna just try and do something. But you didn't do that either time, and it just didn't work. It was just a full gamble. That's what we were trying to go for. Hence the
yeah.
rats as the team name.
Triples the HP. You gotta put a rapid on your small ship. Doesn't matter what you think.
Gambles don't pay off against people who know what they're doing.
Oh, I know. I mean, we entered this for fun. That was all.
Not necessarily. I think gambles can often work against people that know what they're doing. It's just that I don't think that like it's already been said. But yeah, having fun is fine. Consider putting a rapid on your light ships.
It's 10 points. It's very important. It's necessary. All right. I think we've covered
Alrighty.
everything. I'm gonna wrap this up.
All right.
All right. That is that. I hope Team Rats listened to some of that advice. Because it was pretty clear while the games were going on. They didn't really know what they were doing. I don't think they had. I don't know. They did have a plan, but it was just really not executed well. And that happens. And that happens. That's what these are for. The tournaments are for learning and growing, developing your skills, and I hope they learned something from those games. I hope they did. Also, a good bit of fun. So Team Goonatar moves on. Team the Rats is knocked out. We're gonna have another tournament match here momentarily. This has been the Chosen of the Gods 6K 2v2 hosted by Vastol. I went ahead and deafened myself in the Discord because we did have a lot of people and they were starting to get a little rowdy. So I need a little piece of quiet to close this out. I have a link to the Discord, which this is hosted out of, down below. It's open. It's to just about anybody. Hit that link. Come on down. We really don't care about skill levels or game experience. Yeah, I think this is one of the people for the next tournament is still blue. This person has probably like 30 games under the belt. And I also have a Patreon that's linked below as well. There's no paywalled content. It's just a support for me and all the like community management stuff I do. It gets kind of exhausting from time to time. It's nice to have a little extra support. It's there if you want to contribute. I think that covers everything we needed to cover. Good night. I will see you in the battle space.